A hairstylist is getting backlash for how she treated one of her clients. Let's get into it.
In the 24 something years doing hair, this is the worst I've ever seen. Yes, because let me tell you why it's the worst. It's the worst because number one, you haven't had a haircut in over 15 years, and number two, you put box color on top of it. So how long have you been box coloring the hair? Okay, so you see all of this here, you see all of this here, all of this you can see through here. That's all got to go. That as women of color, we hold on to length, and you don't realize you're holding on to the length, but it's not healthy. So you're holding on to dead length. Right. So now what's happening is, like, if I could see without really like flat ironing your hair, you would need to cut this off, this much off. It's not that big. I'm watching a movie right through it. It's dead. It's not about what we could do. It's if I can get it straight enough to cut it. This is how bad it is. This is what I'm trying to get you to understand. If I could get you silky enough or straight, just not even silky, straight enough for me to cut it. If I could get straight enough for me to cut it, then we could sit and look and have that discussion. But I can't. Like it's gonna take me longer. And as you not did the box color, this probably wouldn't be as bad. Right. But the synthetic chemical that's in the box color has this like this on top of the 15 years of not getting that haircut. You know better, you do better. So we get it. I understand. So I asked you, are you attached to length? Because if you're attached to, yeah, you did. You honestly said both. But what I'm telling you, usually when people honestly say both, when they see how damaged their hair is, when they see how damaged it is, they like, all right, you're right, because it looks bad.
So you said here, I'm saying here. Like,
but you just asked me for my professional opinion. I gave it to you. Okay, there's the answer.
And then like the next two times.
No, this is the next two times. You lucky I didn't pull out my clippers. That's how bad this is. You're not. I don't think you're understanding that. You're lucky I didn't pull out my clippers. That's what I'm saying. Because that's how bad this is. Your hair, it is you doing this and doing this is not gonna make it go away. It's not gonna make it any easier. It's dead hair. So let me just tell you something. If you put oil, you put grease on a dead person, does it bring them back to life? No.
Ma'am. Number one, she's attached to the length. So mentally, she's not prepared to let her hair go, even though she needs to. You want to just do it like this. You just want her to go cold turkey with the length. To me, she still would have had a nice length of hair. It just wouldn't have been where she wanted it to be, which is fine to me, but I understand how certain people feel about their hair. Like, I know when I go in May, I'm going to have to go ahead and get a lot of this cut, but it needs to go. And that's okay for me because I'm not as attached to the length like some people are. But I do think that there is a way that you could have compromised with your client. You say, hey, I'm going to cut this length this time, and I'm going to cut it this length that time, which is what she's asking you. But you just wanted to go on one full sweep.
If you put oil and grease on it, it's not going to resuscitate this hair. You got to cut it off. You got to bury the dead person. It's the same thing. Okay. You got to get rid of it. But if you're going to hold on to the if you're attached to it, if you attach to the boyfriend that's abusing you, then you stay with him. You stay with Ike. Other than that, I can't help you. Because me and my sisters, we don't cut that dead stuff off. I don't hold on to things that don't serve me. So,
and I understand that.
Yeah,
but I'm just saying, can we cut this off?
You already asked that. I answered.
So no.
You're answer. Yeah. My client's hair is the healthiest hair because they do what? They listen. Okay. If you don't listen, the hair is not. It's not gonna work. I have a relationship with my clients and their hair has a relationship with me. But if you think you're gonna keep combing that section and it's gonna magically get all the way to the end, baby, you can watch it drive through when you do that. You know how professional? You plait it, take it to the barber on a Tuesday, let cut it all off.
No.
Okay.
So let's get the cutting.
But I can't get past that. That's what I'm trying to tell you because you're wooden owing, and I can't get there. You're like, no, but as a stylist, I do. Okay. I do. I don't hurt people. I don't create hair trauma. I told you it feels better, but I will say this and I will keep saying it. Black women's hair should not be this difficult. It is like dealing with a toddler watching. It's kind of like if you ever see a bad kid and the parent is like, "Oh, Billy," it's like, no, you are pacifying the bad behavior. Cut it off and let's start all over again. We should not have to. Black people should not have to. We don't need to go here. As long as it's taken care of, it's treated, and it's fine. Because you want to know what? I had 250 clients and I don't got this wrong. We don't got this wrong. Because it damages him multiple parts. Okay, so what do you want to do? What I told you is we're going to plat it in a section, and you're going to have to make a decision of a big chop. I'm not taking any money from you or anything. You need to make a decision of a big chop. Your hair is damaged in so many different spots. That is a titanium class A flat iron. It ain't going through that, baby.
So big chop is like how short?
Cut off. Start all over again. It is winter time. By summer, you'll have some good length.
You said by the
no, clipper.
Like hair?
I don't want to say it's low, but clipper. You can at least take half a minute from. Yes. Your damage is in so many different parts. If you cut one side one way, would you want to neglect the other side?
No, I hear you.
Yes, because as we're keeping going, this is one side. You have a whole head. You got to go a whole head, sugar.
So you want to cut all of her hair. I thought you was just cutting like some huge chunks off of it. You saying clipper goes zzz. Like dang, all right, bro. You talking about big chop. You gotta mentally prepare for that. And she obviously is not at that particular point. I would have been shocked if I walked up in there and you was like, hey, Amanda, you got to cut off all your hair. What you mean I got to cut off all my hair? I could see you cutting off the damaged parts. But from based on what the angles you was showing in this particular clip and where you grabbed it at, I'm not getting it. I go get a second opinion before I let her cut my hair because I couldn't do that either. I guess she didn't know how bad it was, but yeah, nah. And I think you got to come in with a different attitude and be a little bit more softer. But you may have told her this multiple times and you've already had this conversation. So at this point, you are probably kind of frustrated with her if that is the case. But at the same point, you saying it's just hair. To some people, it's not just hair. It's more than that to them. So I get both sides. The original video is no longer on her page. Her comment section is turned off.
So this is the last time I'm going to address it. That video that I posted that is apparently going viral right now with me talking to the client about her hair. She and I are good. There's no issues or anything. She and I are good. There was an understanding. And she understands that when she has her big chop, she's going to come to me and we are going to restore and grow her hair back. But she wasn't ready. She wasn't prepared and she wasn't ready for it that day. And a lot of times that happens. Now, for the stylists that have inboxed me and were like, sis, clock in. Because there's been times where we sat behind the chair and it's like, as hairstylists, you guys don't understand. We can only work on the hair y'all give us. So the hair y'all bring us is the hair that we can work on. And had I listened to her, and she was like, well, you could just cut right here. You could just cut this much right here. But if I cut this much right here, what about the side over here where the cuticle is damaged? What about this side right here where it's just broken like knots right here? What do I do with that side? So if I had listened to her, she'd have looked like Angelica's doll Cynthia by the time I was done. And I wasn't doing that to her.
Like I feel like it's compromised to where you could get it to a certain length so where she could have retained like a decent amount, but it still would have been a good amount of the hair gone. Because you have different lengths on each side. I'm going to have to cut your hair to this length. You see this piece of hair here? This is how it's going to have to be cut so all of your hair could be the same length. Or could you have done layers with her hair? Either way, I think it has to be a compromise that you all could have came to, because at the end of the day, yes, it's her hair. Done on her hair is a representation of you. So I understand you not wanting her to go out looking crazy.
And I had every right to. And there was no amount of treatment or anything in that salon that was going to restore that. One thing I said in the other video, once something is abused and tainted, it's there. When you remove a child from an abusive family home, if you remove them and put them in foster care into a foster parent's home, the trauma is still there. It's still there. With hair, when you, just because it's long, and just because now all of a sudden you want to go on this health journey, if you don't cut that stuff off, the trauma is still in that hair. The abuse and neglect is still in that hair. You have to cut it off. It's still there. That's the thing I don't think people fully understand. It's like, oh, well, we could restore it and bring it back. Not if the cuticle is tainted to the scalp.
Oh, dang. Okay. You're saying the cuticle is damaged. And the only way you was going to be able to do that was you doing a big chop. That makes sense.
There's nothing you can do but cut. Like, there's literally nothing you could do. If you read in the same lady's cosmetology book that I read, nothing you could do is but cut. So, you know, I say all that to say, listen, people don't agree. You don't like the delivery, change the channel. But by the time I had posted that video and did the video, I had already been talking to her for over an hour about her hair and going back and forth with her for over an hour about how, like, I couldn't help her. And then the other thing is I had another client after her. So it wasn't like she had my whole day and my undivided attention. I had other clients after her. So you just give us some grace.
When you do a big chop to your hair and you're no longer putting chemicals as in relaxers in your hair, most people aren't mentally prepared for how their hair shrinks. And as a woman, you want to have length. So when you see your white counterparts, their hair is straight, they have length. Your hair could be dang near the same length, if not longer, but your hair looks shorter because of the shrinkage. And so when you get that new growth, it's not going to retain length, and that messes with your head. It does, and that's something you got to work through. You got to get used to it. It's a process. And I understand what she's saying, because look, I'm telling you what you need to do. Either you're going to take my advice or you not. I don't have all day to be sitting up here playing with you. I don't. So either this is what we going to do, or we can take what you say. You're going to leave here with damaged hair. Come back to me when you are prepared for the treatment that I offered up.
Fact is, me and the client are good. She didn't start this. This is people's opinion on social media, and they got their panties in a wad. Me and the client are fine. Another fact is that I did give her treatment. She had a steam conditioning treatment at the sink. And with hair that's severely damaged, one or two things are going to happen. The treatment is going to cause the hair to relax, or it's going to cause it to tense up. And that's exactly what it did. So when you have somebody who is severely tender-headed and has split ends all the way to the top and the cuticle is damaged in different spots, there isn't really much you can do. Now, my professional recommendation was for her to clipper cut. What you saw in the video was about 45 minutes of us going back and forth. And if anybody has stood behind the chair, you know you've had clients where there's this dance and you're like, look, I don't know what else you want me to say. There's nothing else I can do. And I'm not a barber. I'm not a barber. I go to one. That's a whole other thing. But I'm not a barber. The other thing that I will say is that it's really interesting and entertaining to me that me in my little salon is a topic of discussion when there's real problems going on in the world. Let's call a spade a spade. There's real problems going on in the world and y'all worrying about me? Literally.
You posted that video on social media. It got a bad reaction. You got to deal with it. It is what it is. She came to you. She's cool with your service. She didn't want her hair cut. Y'all was going back and forth for 45 minutes. We got to see a snippet of that conversation. If she chooses to cut her hair off and follow your advice, that's great. There are other people that saying, well, yeah, you can provide treatment or whatever the case may be, but they have not actually touched her hair. So it's just them looking. You know, if she goes to them and she tries them out and it works for her, great. Your channel is a hair channel. So people that's watching your channel, they're not going to you to worry about other problems in the world. They're focused on this.
Seriously. That's sick, and it's sad that we are in the fight of our lives with the government we have, and y'all did. Okay. Back in December, I took the comments off. Back in December because people were bullying my clients that were in the chair. So I didn't turn the comments off. No, I didn't. I turned the comments off because my clients were being bullied and there were things going forth. You know, 30 years ago, Oprah said on the Oprah show, she said that I had skinheads on there and she told them she thought she was exposing them, but what she was doing was giving them a platform. I'm not going to give y'all a platform to bully none of my clients up in here. That's not what I'm going to do. If that client felt so disrespected and so disgusted, she'd have got up in the middle of our conversation and walked out. She did not. She ultimately understood and she left. This girl from Philly, if she felt so disrespected, this would have turned into a whole other situation. She didn't feel disrespected. Y'all all in y'all feelings about it, thinking she was bullied and blah. She wasn't. She's fine. That's the other part. The other thing is there was 2 videos that went out. The one that's circulating is only one. In the other video, I talk about it and I'm showing different parts and I'm like, listen, she knew. So you guys are not understanding the full concept. You're taking something and you're running with it. She knew her hair was bad. Where the negotiation came from is that she didn't realize that as a cosmetologist, I can't cut here and then clipper cut you here. You're going to look like Cynthia, the doll from...
So the middle of her hair was jacked up. She wanted you to keep the length for like the outside and then clip the crown and cover the crown with the other hair, which I feel at that particular point, ma'am, you just got to put on frozen and let it go. You got to let it go. It's just not serving you no more. Number one, she already knew how this woman gave it up. She went to this particular stylist for a reason. This is obviously somebody that she trusted, especially at the time, because she sought her out. So she knows how this woman talks. So if you cool with it, ain't too much more for me to say. I could say it's rude. I ain't like how she was talking to you. Some people are very blunt. She obviously, that's how they give it up out there.
Angelica's doll from the Rugrats. That's you can't do that. Like, that's just, you just can't. And I wasn't gonna do that to her. So what I will say is that the good thing about this is, because there's a good thing in everything. There's good thing in mess. You know, there's always something good. There has been so many women that have inboxed me telling me thank you because they have postpartum hair and they've been contemplating cutting it and they need to cut it. There's so many women inboxing me. Other stylists are saying, sis, thank you, because you saying what we didn't want to say and what we haven't said. And, you know, you don't know what it's like sitting in a salon and a client brings you hair and they think you could create a miracle. You know, I'm not Jesus. That ain't Lazarus. I can't bring that back from the dead. It's just some things we can't do as hairstylists. So
that's like when my hairstylist, she was like when Beyonce was dumb popular, when she came out with Crazy in Love and people were sending her cheer and want her to turn them into Beyonce. So yeah, man, they be going through some stuff. They cheer. I ain't gonna lie. I've heard some of y'all horror stories. You just gotta be realistic. the texture of your hair is not always in alignment with the style that you want. A style that you want ain't gonna look the same on you as it would somebody else. They can give you something similar. They can get close. But some of y'all are delusional when you sit up in them chairs. And y'all just need to live in reality.
To those stylists that have inboxed me and shared their stories and things, thank you. For my clients that checked on me the moment this went awry, or whatever the hell it went. For my clients that checked on me, clients that prayed with me, clients that said, do you have food? Do you want me to send you anything? See, the thing is, y'all don't realize I don't give a crap about y'all. My clients and they know. I don't have to defend my character to you guys, because you guys are just eating crumbs off of a picnic table and think you calling it my life. And that's not it, and that's not who I am. So I will continue to do hair. I will continue.
You give out candy at your shop? Because I think that's what that is in your basket. But hey,
to be who I am and continue to post content. If you don't like it, change the channel. But she and I are good. Me and that client are good. Once she gets her haircut, she coming back and we're going to restore her hair. And we're going to get it right, and we're going to grow it out, and we're going to get it right. But what I'm not going to do is let y'all think you're going to tear me down. In y'all season of stupid. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, everything that's going on in this world right now, y'all thinking of me? Everything that's going on in this country right now.
ma'am, that's a different topic. Some people watch his stuff to just get away from certain politics or whatever the case may be. They're not thinking about what's going on in the world. You did something they didn't like. They told you about it. Let's move forward. The woman obviously took your advice. She going to get her hair cut, probably by a barber, since you said it gotta be a big chop. Hopefully she found a style that she wants. I don't think, based on the fact that you saying it's damaged, I don't think that she should be getting color put in her hair. She gonna just have to let it breathe and just rock whatever color her hair is, which is black, based on the video.
Now, y'all thinking of me. Okay. Y'all live your lives. Have fun. My daddy always say, a lie takes the elevator, but the truth takes the stairs. And if God be for me, he will prepare a table in front of my
enemies. But I thought you said, if God before me, who could be against me? But I feel you, man.
Y'all can have your little blogs. I'm good.
And in the 20 years that I've been doing hair, this is the worst I ever heard a stylist talk to a client. Like, you have lost your mind. Something is completely wrong with you. You had that girl crying in your hair over some hair. See, this is why I don't like y'all. And you're in my same state. So that just makes it even worse, because who the did you get your hair care license from? Please, let's start there. Because it probably was Robert Fiance and them white people. And that's all you know how to deal with is white straight hair. Let's start there. Because you're in South Jersey. So I know you're not dealing with no actual coily, kinky hair. Because the way you described her hair as horsehair out the beauty supply store, sis, you're bugging. There's so many things that you could have did to her hair besides chop it off if she didn't want it chopped off. Start there. There's bonding treatments that you could have given her to give that hair a little bit more strength, right? There's so many protective hairstyles that you could have done to giving her some type of strength. There's so many treatments that you could have given her to give her some type of strength, or at least detangling, so that way you could have got through it. You didn't want to do the hair because you saw all the work that was in it. You cosmetologists get on my nerves. Stay over there with that straight hair and putting relaxers in people's hair because you don't want to deal with texture whatsoever. That's literally what it was. You saw that hair, you saw that it had a texture to it, and you knew it was going to be a 4 to 5 hour service, and you was just like, nah.
Seen some of like the ends and stuff, how thin her ends was, and her saying like, right here we probably have to cut, but I didn't see it as to the point where she needed to do a big chop for me. And some of her hair was like just dumb thick.
We not doing that. But to sit up here and try to act like your experience and your knowledge as a cosmetologist is the reason why you talk to that girl like that, wild. Because you're bald. You're bald. And I've seen the client's hair that you put up there, and it's lackluster. Honestly, it's lackluster. So what are you really doing besides being in a place where there's not a lot of stylists around that do texture there? Because I promise you, they can sure come up Parkway or the Turnpike, whichever one they want to do. The video is trash. Trash. Period. Now, I'm not even going to wait for nobody to comment, including her. I tagged her twice, so that way she not said that face. I'm not even going to wait for her to comment, because I'm going to tell you exactly what the she could have did to not make this girl get up out her chair crying, thinking that she had to be bald. Right? Now, in the video, you see that she was comfortable with cutting off at least 6 inches of hair, which would have been from right here, right here, right here to right here. She'd have been comfortable cutting all that off, right? Because that was the most see-through, as you see it, right? I would have cut all of this off. That's the 6 inches she was comfortable with. And instead of worrying about the back of her head, I would have showed her what the front would have looked like. So that way when she took her hair out, she would have been able to see what her hair was going to look like, right? Because that was going to be the first shocker if she was okay with taking off this 6 inches, right? Secondly, what I would have done is I would have gave her 2 strands. And I would have told her to bring her back to me in 2 weeks. And we would have just been deep conditioning, protein treatment, and 2 stranding. And every 4 to 6 weeks, I would cut 2 inches of hair. That way, I could have got that shit up off her head, right? In a good 12 weeks. Because if I already cut 6 inches off and I go 2, the next time, she's now here. But it's a gradual release of hair. It would have been less traumatic to her. And she would have seen the results in manageability and softness from being in my chair every 2 weeks. We would have been able to have more discussions.
Yeah, man, but every 2 weeks, you was about to be getting your dough up too, which isn't an issue with me. Get your money. Me, I would have just went ahead and get... nah. Hey, just let it go. Just cut it. But I understand where the stylist is coming from. I think that's a great plan. But at the end of the day, it still was going to have to go. Both of y'all on the same page of her needing to let it go. But the way that you guys were going to execute it was completely different.
It would have been a progressive thing. If people are not comfortable with a big chop, you just don't big chop them. But you also don't send them out of your chair if there's something that can be done. The problem is that a lot of cosmetologists don't want to do the shit. And that's why y'all need to stay the out of textured hair. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it. I know you see the money. Because a lot of people ain't getting them chemicals no more. Listen, I don't know what the fuck to tell you, right? But you don't do this. You don't send that girl crying out of your chair like that when there's something that could have been done that could have satisfied not only her, but you as well, and kept a regular client in your chair for at least the next 6 to 8 months.
Y'all agree that it gotta go. To me, she's saying, look, let it go now. We'll deal with the healthy stuff. If you let it go now, it may be a little cheaper on you in the long run. You like, hey, you ain't got to let it go now. But most of this going to have to go. And this how we going to go with it about letting all of it go. You do understand that dang near every time you see me, I'm going to be cutting your hair. Yes. Okay. Come on back. We going to do twists. 2 inches this time. 2 inches. Let it go, ma'am. This is triggering and interesting. When I sat in this lady's chair, she told me my hair was healthy. I kept up with my trims, but my goal was to commit to one stylist to continue my retention journey. I just told her to trim what was needed, and it looked as if she trimmed more than what was needed. I was satisfied with it, but not the happiest about it. My second visit 4 weeks later, I noticed how rough and rushed she was handling my hair from the shampoo bowl and all the way to the flat iron. Then she proceeds to cut off another 1.5, probably more, she said, because it was dead. I can't tell you the mixed emotions I've been having with this because of this setback. I am not a fan of her blow drying technique. She does not section her hair. She blow dries like you would for someone who has straighter hair. I will not be revisiting. First photo is how I arrived. The second is the first initial cut, and the third is where I am today. I guess. As always, remember that you're fearfully and wonderfully made. Stay blessed.